P3 is a great research center for plant sciences and also a great support system for students in the plant sciences in Arkansas.
P3 is my research home and support.
P3 is a community.
P3 is an opportunity that introduced me to fun science.
P3 is a great opportunity that opened my eyes to the world of research.
P3 is a community of inspiring scientists and research.
So I've been in the P3 program for 2 years now. My first couple years of college, I became increasingly interested in science. And so one day I met with Dr. Ann Grippo over in the College of Science and Math. And we just met. She told me about some opportunities regarding research at ASU. And I knew that I was going to have to do an honors senior thesis too in the future. And that it ended up just kind of transitioning into me meeting with Dr. Arhelia Lawrence over at ABI. And she offered me a job, and then within a few months I'd acquired funds through P3 to work for her, studying the effects of vitamin C on tobacco.
I approached Dr. Dolan. I heard she did research at ABI and was really interested in research, and she suggested me to apply for the asset internship, and that's where I got my first, got my feet wet into research and got exposed to it. And then after the summer went by, found out I really liked it, so she's like, hey, there's this P3 internship that's available if you want to apply for it, and so that's how I first got introduced to P3.
It has influenced my career goals in mostly through P3 has put a lot of effort into exposing students like me to other scientists that are way more advanced in their careers. So our direct exposure to those scientists, many of those scientists, they provide many examples as to what we can aim for in the future.
I got the P3 summer internship. I applied in April and was very excited and finally got it. And so I started the last week of May. So I've been in P3 for just about a month and a half.
In September of 2013, I was in an honors biology of the cell course with Dr. Maureen Dolan, and she mentioned the P3 internship to our class. So I applied and I ended up being accepted. So since then I've been working in Dr. Carol Kramer's lab, and it's been about 2 years now.
I get into P3 program more than 3 years. Actually, it's P3 support the first year when I get into the MBS PhD program. You know, now the funding is so difficult to get, but the PhD students need the financial support. So without the P3 support, I cannot get enrolled.
My work has not only been presented locally, but also regionally and even in France, internationally. I think it's really just kind of given me more confidence in myself when it comes to presenting my work and just working in science. And I really think that if it were not for P3, I would not have been chosen for the Wilson Award here at ASU, which was really exciting for me. And I've also been able to win a couple of awards at the P3 conference and at Created State over the past couple of years.
P3 has helped me with my academic goals, especially with helping me think a different way. P3 has funded me to do research, and when you're sitting in a class setting, you learn out of the book. Well, doing research, you learn to think outside the box and you apply what you know to real life setting, and so P3 has helped me with, over the past 2 years with that experience.
I think P3 as a research experience has a lot of emphasis on infrastructure and support for students. So I have seen that a lot more in P3 than in other research experiences that I have had. So before coming here, I worked at the International Potato Center in Peru well, first I did my undergraduate research thesis for about a year, and then I worked there as a research assistant for 5 more years.
It means support. Not financially, but the people and everything. I don't know, it's just like a big conglomeration of helpful things. Like you don't get lost, it's just like a family.
By working in P3, I was able to come into a lab and start working with things that I would hear about in class, but they seemed really abstract or, kind of unimaginable. And once I started working in the lab, I would see things like, polymerase chain reaction or things like that, gel electrophoresis. And I would see, okay, this is how this works. This is how it's done, and this is what you would get from it.
I really agree the mission of P3. We take advantage of the plant as a unique biosynthetic factory to produce biochemical and biomaterials, proteins to help solve the problems like the food security and energy and some other problems. I really agree that. So in the future, I would continue do the plant research.
It really just kind of reinforced a lot of the stuff that I was already learning in science classes, but it also kind of forced me out of my comfort zone when it came to presenting my work and stuff like that. And I really think it, in the end, was pretty influential in me getting accepted into the pharmacy program at University of Arkansas for medical sciences.
It definitely was when we were at the conference in Fayetteville. And they were announcing first place, and I was just sitting in my seat just waiting to hear who it was. And they said, Eliza Wire, and I had just recently gotten married, so I was confused and was like, okay, I don't know who that is. And then Lana was sitting beside me and said, Eliza, that's you, get up. And I was like, oh, that is me. And I was really excited, so that was a really fun memory I'll always cherish.
P3 to me is mostly a great support system. That's what it's been for me. So they have supported my studies very, very much by this interaction with top-level scientists who provided great input and also great examples for me to assess and see what I like, what I'm going to do in the future.
It's giving me lab experience and giving me a lot of experience just talking about what I'm doing, which is kind of the hard part between connecting what you're doing in the lab and talking about it and actually knowing what you're doing with the little tiny tubes and the pipettes and the liquids. So just the lab experience itself has, helped me a ton. I've learned so much more than I imagined I ever could in the summer. And so I guess just the experience that I'm getting.
For an aspiring researcher, the lab experience offered by P3 is priceless.
The network is very important, and P3 provide us the awesome platform to talk and to communicate with both the research and career directions, to talk with the scientists here. So that would be awesome too.